On this video, we're gonna find out what it's like to move off with the gas and to move off without the gas. Let's go. When you're trying to move off really slowly or you're trying to do little moves, it's actually really useful not to use the gas. So like if I'm trying to go creep forward a tiny bit like here, it doesn't really make sense using any gas. The clutch by itself is gonna be fine. When you don't use gas, you're more likely to stall because when you bring the clutch up, it's really easy to stall. I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time I'm gonna add gas in the background. So if I've got gas and I do the same thing, it was jerky, but it didn't stall because the gas is there helping out in the background. So in this car, it's not that easy to stall unless you're doing it really carelessly. In some other cars, if you don't use the gas as you're moving off with the clutch, you're likely to stall every single time, unless you're really, really careful. So normally when you're reversing, the clutch by itself is gonna be enough to move the car backwards. So like here, if I'm reversing back, you see the clutch is working by itself and it's doing a good job. If I was on a hill, a really steep hill, or if I had lots of people in the car or the car was weighted down by something that I'm carrying, then I'd want to use the gas in the background to give it a bit more power. But in general, just general parking, especially if you're trying to go really slowly, just the clutch is going to be enough to move the car back. But again, if you are using just the clutch by itself, you need to be really careful not to bring up the clutch too fast, otherwise you end up stalling just like that. When you're moving off at junctions, I'm going to do this one without any gas. So again, it's quite jerky and you're more likely to stall that way as well. So if you don't want to be stalling at the junctions and you don't want to be moving off in a rough way, you're much better off using the gas. You're going to do a right turn, but this time I'm going to use the gas as well. So bring the gas to about 1.5 RPMs, and then you see that way it's much smoother, and then also I can pick up my speed after I've turned as well. If I'm in really slow traffic like this, and right now the traffic's moving a bit quicker, so I can add a bit of gas, but if the traffic was moving really slow and it's just stop, start, I'll just use my clutch then because I'm not going anywhere quick. So like here, if I want to creep forward a little bit, I just bring my clutch up just a tiny bit and then down again. There, I didn't have any gas on. It was just the clutch moving the car forward by itself. What I see a lot of people do who are used to just using the clutch by itself is bring the clutch up and then use the gas afterwards. And I'll show you why that's not so good. So once this car's gone, I'll bring the clutch up, and then once it's all the way up, then they start using the gas. But you notice that the car dipped down a bit, it slows down. So if I'm in a situation where I'm trying to go quickly and the person behind me is expecting me to go quickly as well, they'll be following me and then suddenly my car's gonna slow down before I add the gas. So to avoid that, you're just better off using the gas in the first place if you are in a situation where you're trying to move off quickly and smoothly. So like here, people are going quite quick, so I can use the gas in the background, and then that way I can keep up with everyone as well. So for these lights, I'm just gonna add some gas. That way, everyone around me knows what I'm doing and I can move smoothly. When you're moving off on the hill, the car is gonna struggle a lot more than normal. So just using the clutch alone means the car is working a lot harder. And if you're not careful on the hill, especially if you don't bring the clutch up properly or smoothly, the car will stall. This is where you want to be using the gas along with the clutch. So even if you bring the clutch up to the biting point first, before you try to move anywhere, make sure you got the gas on and then bring the clutch up smoothly. That way the car's getting power from the gas with the clutch and you can move off smoothly without stalling. In places where you have to move off quickly, if you don't use the gas, you see, everyone's going to leave you behind. The clutch only doesn't work in those kind of scenarios. But if you use the gas as well, I'll show you how fast you can actually move off when you use the gas along with the clutch. So once I see a nice safe gap, I'm going to start adding the gas, bring the clutch up, add lots more gas. You see, you get much more of an acceleration quickly straight away. Instead of just using the clutch and then getting that slump, you get power straight away to go fast and you move off quickly that way. So we already established that using the gas along with the clutch is going to make you move faster, and that's going to be important in situations like roundabouts, where if you don't move off quickly enough, vehicles coming from the right will catch up to you quickly if you're moving off too slowly. And also it's not going to give you the confidence to move off quickly where you got a nice gap. You're going to feel scared when you see gaps to go because you know you're not going to move off quickly enough. So I would recommend that you practice using the gas with the clutch So that way when you move off, see, it's nice and quick. I'm gonna try it this roundabout here. I'm gonna go left first exit. So once I see a nice gap, like there, see, I'm confident enough because I know I can move off quickly and I'm not scared. When I see a nice gap, I can take it and I'm off.